Ohai. Sandakan, the city in east part of Malaysia, in the state of Sabah in the northeast of the island of Kalimantan, on the coast the seas Sulu, is the center of the area of the same name. The population as of 2018 makes about 366,000 people, the area minus 2266 km. Large seaport, industrial and infrastructure center. There is an airport accepting internal flights. In 1883-1947 I was the administrative center of local colonial possession of Great Britain, the British Northern Borneo. Included all territory of Sabah. During World War II was the important center of the Japanese occupational administration. I underwent strong destructions during fighting. In 1945 the transfer from here a large number of the Australian prisoners of war pedestrian marches which gained fame as the Sandakan Marches of Death, led to death practically of all captured Australians. In the Middle Ages in the territory of present Sandakan there were villages of various local breeding educations which were periodically recognizing sovereignty of these or those states of the Malay archipelago. At the beginning of the 15th century the power of a Sultanate Brunei which, in turn, in 1658 conceded to their Sultanate Sula extended to these lands. In 1865 this territory together with all present Sabah was leased to the American consular agent in Brunei Claude Lee Moses. That soon sold the rights of use to the American trading company Borneo which was based in London, which, in turn, resold them to the Austro-Hungarian consul Baron Gustav von Auerbach, who was actively engaged in commercial activity in the region. It noted the transfer of rights of property or rent which was even more complicated by lack of the authentic legal documents confirming to the arrangement between Sultan Sula and Brunei brought in the subsequent to a long-term territorial dispute between independent Malaysia and Philippines for Sabah. Emergence of the name Sandakan is always on the lips. Meaning put rented, it is connected with creation in the present territory of the city, on the small island Timbang. In the Sandakan Bay, the first European settlement. In 1872 the British engineer William Clark Cooey based small trade point there, having got the corresponding permission from the Sultan Sula as remuneration for illicit arms supplies. At the same time remaining Chi. Von Auerbach on Sabah's right caused active inflow on the new place of a large number of the Austrian and German colonists, therefore the created settlement received the second name, Kampenherman. Literally, the German settlement. Being in the first years better known. In January 1878 Chi. Von Auerbach, having paid together with partners to the Sultan Sula of 50 United States dollars, I received from him a title of the Supreme Keeper and the Raya of Sandakan. On June 15, 1879, soon after buying up of the right for economic exploitation of Sabah G. Von Auerbach by his British partners and creations of the Authorized Company of the British Northern Borneo, ICP, which took out the royal patent by them on management of this territory in Sandakan, had a fire which almost completely destroyed the city. On June 21 the territorial manager appointed by KB's, the resident, William Pryor, made the decision on inexpediency of reconstruction of the settlement on the island and disposed to move him to east coast of the bay, to the territory of the Malayan village of Buli Simsim. The updated settlement received the official name Alapura, literally the Nice city from Malayan. Alak, Nice, beautiful, and Pura, city, which, however, didn't get accustomed and was forced out from the use by the name of the former settlement, Sandakan. Thus, official date of the basis of Sandakan on his present place it is considered on June 21, 1879. Anglican Church of St. Michael and All Angels. Constructions of 1893. In 1883 the administrative center of possession which was originally located in the settlement of Pudet that provided conditions for significant increase in the settlement was transferred to Sandakan. According to the census conducted in 1884, 3771 persons, the majority of which representatives of nationality made Sula and Chinese, lived in it. In 1888, after giving of the status of Protectorate of Great Britain to Northern Borneo, Sandakan kept the status of his administrative center. The advantageous geographical location of the settlement, at the exit from the Deepwater Sea harbor, in close proximity to sites of the jungle rich with valuable tropical wood, provided his accelerated economic and social development. In 1880, the 1890th years were constructed numerous office buildings, residential quarters of the European-type school, large religious constructions of various faiths. Sandakan, which remained so far the Chinese Temple 1886 of construction and Anglican Church of St. Michael and All Angels 1893 of construction are the main attractions of the city. In high gear the port infrastructure focused first of all on export of tropical wood developed. By 1930th years from Sandakan on foreign markets, mainly to Great Britain, China and Australia. About 180,000 m were delivered. Within a year thus, the city was high on the list in the world on this indicator. Big scales and high profitability of this business provided further expansion of the city and its successful improvement. Is Sandakan Memorial Park broken in memory of the dead in World War II? During World War II Sandakan, as well as all territory of the British Northern Borneo, was captured by armed forces of Japan. Occupation began on January 19, 1942 when not numerous forces of Allies handed over the city to the opponent. The city became the center of the Japanese occupational administration of Northern Borneo and served as an important strong point of local group of the Japanese troops. At the same time the name Alapura was officially returned to him. The city and its vicinities held thousands of prisoners of war of Allies, generally Australians, and the dependent Indonesians exploited on construction of airfields and other military and rear infrastructure. After the beginning of the counterattack of Allies in Southeast Asia which was followed including massive bombings and shellings of Northern Borneo generally and Sandakan in particular, at the end of 1944 the Japanese command organized transfer about 2,400 Australian prisoners and 3,600 Indonesian to the internal area of Sabah Pedestrian United. Operation continued till March 1945. During this transfer which gained in the subsequent fame as the Sandakan Marches of Death and also soon on arrival to the new place of dislocation in the town of Renault. Russian, practically all Australians died from hunger and deprivations or were killed by escorts. It is known only of 6 survivors. The Sandakan Marches of Death are considered as the major war crime committed concerning citizens of Australia. The Japanese troops remained in Sandakan some time after capitulation of Japan and completion of World War II and were disarmed by forces of the 9th Australian Division only by October 19, 1945. By this moment the city was almost completely destroyed by the destructions put to Sandakan during war were so heavy that the British, having restored control over the city, considered impossible his further use as the administrative centre of Sabaka, which received the status of Crown Colony in 1946. As a result, the corresponding administrative functions were transferred to the city of Jesselton, subsequently renamed into Kota Kinabalu. In 1940, the 1950th year, Sandakan was restored and again gained important economic, including port value. After creation in September 1963 of Independent Federation of Malaysia, Sandakan was approved in the status of the capital of the district of the same name as a part of the state of Sabah. In the period of independence of the country, it remains the second most important city of Sabah in the economic, social and cultural plan. The city is on the northeast coast of Sabah, coming to the Sea Sulu. It is located on the left coast of a mouth of the Gulf of the same name, which is deeply pressing in the land, a small part, on islands of the Gulf. Occupies the space of 2266 km. Together with the water area of City Port. The territory of the city in a coastal strip, the plain, in the rest there are numerous hills and small heights. The coastline within the city is cut strongly up, there is a set of small gulfs and bays. On the city proceed several small rivers flowing into the Sandakan Gulf. The climate is equatorial, damp. An average annual temperature maximum, +40 C. The difference between the maximum and minimum daily temperatures is small, on average 6 C. The absolute temperature maximum registered by local weather services, +40 C, and absolute minimum, +16 C. The population of Sandakan, by assessment for 2017, is about 366,000 people, population density -161.5 persons on km. The ethnic structure of urban population is very various. Representatives of the tidal nation of the country, Malayans, make no more than 10% of locals. The relative majority of citizens, about 30%, belongs to various indigenous peoples of Sabah. Our most numerous Baja communities of Kadazandusan are rather considerable. And Murat. The share of Chinese, more than 20%, and also natives of Indonesia, not less than 10%, is traditionally big. Also, the confessional structure is also non-uniform. Practically all Malayans, natives of Indonesia, and most of representatives of indigenous Sabakski peoples are Sunni Muslims. Among Chinese are available both adherents of the Buddhism and Taoism, and Christians, both Protestants and Catholics. The Christianity professes also a quantity of radical Sabakets. Since 2007, Sandakan is the center of the Diocese of the Roman Catholic Church. In the city, the Catholic Cathedral of Blessed Virgin of Maria is located. Practically all citizens are fluent in a state language of the country, Malayan, the majority English. At the same time, many of them in life actively use the native languages. Economy.
Sandakan, the industrial and economic center of Sabah, the second after Kota Kinabalu.
The main branch of urban economy is production of palm oil.
The products of the local enterprises are sold both on Malaysian and in the international markets. The most part of production capacities is in the territory of specially equipped industrial park. Palm oil industrial cluster,
occupying the space more than 11 km. There are also enterprises of other sectors of the food industry, in particular, the overworking fish and seafood caught in the coastal water area, and also the enterprises of textile and chemical industry. The woodworking, which was in the past the most important branch of urban economy, has rather small value now.
Offices practically of all Malaysian and many international banks work in the city. Transport and infrastructure. Sandakan, the largest Malaysian port on the Sea Sulu, important regional point of cargo shipping.
The territory of City Port occupies 257 km. Among the freights which are taken out from port, the agricultural products prevail.
Palm oil, cocoa beans, tobacco, abacus, sago.
The network automobile and the railroads connects the city with all large settlements of East Malaysia and also with Brunei.
In 13 km from Sandakan there is a city airport which is serving flights of the Malaysian companies and not having the international status.
In 2017 his passenger turnover made people at estimated ability of 1.5 million people a year.
Goods turnover minus 2211 tons, the number of the served flights minus. The area of the airport minus 8645 m. Length of the only runway minus 2134 meters. The last renovation of the airport was made in 2014.
Culture, education, sport.
In the city there are several museums, public libraries, theatre, a large number of movie theatres. The largest city higher education institutions are local offices of the national universities, the Sabakski University of Malaysia and the Malaysian Open University. The city has the developed sports infrastructure. Among citizens the rugby enjoys special popularity. Local teams regularly try to obtain progress in the national championships, have rather high international reputation. Tourism and sites.
Sandakan represents the most important tourist center of Sabah, not so much at the expense of actually city attractions, how many thanks to the numerous natural sites which are in close proximity to him.
The main objects of ecotourism are National Park Tortoise Islands. English. Russian picturesque riverbanks Kinabatangan, caves of Gomantong. The main attractions of the city, a memorial of the victims of World War II, the Center for Rehabilitation of Orangutans, the Old City Market, historical churches, mosques and Buddhist temples. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.